Hey, welcome back to Big Condo Radio, and we're back again with another international guest. We are Condo Worldwide, and we're having these podcasts with people from around the world, so that way we get kind of like the lay of the land, the state of the nation, the effect of the epidemic or the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. It's out there, just like the truth. I am Chase Johnson Lynch, and I'm joined here by, oh my God, I'm joined here by,
Dwight James.
thank you, Dwight James. I'm joined here by Dwight James, who's coming to us live from Simi Valley in California. And the reason why I couldn't get his name right was because I call him Wayne. I just now exposed him. He's going to try and expose me later, I'm pretty sure. But either way is, Dwight, you're in California. So for us over here in Liverpool, in England, first of all, we're mad fans of America and what's going on over there. But we're not getting pretty much the news of what's happening on the ground. So
Oh,
you are actually right there in what they call the epicenter, right? So you're having the same effects as we are with closures and stuff like that. But what I was interested in as a start is Disneyland. How is that on people, especially in California, that Disneyland is closed?
well, the people in California go to Disneyland all the time, so it's not as big a deal as somebody from Oklahoma. So,
Yeah, well,
so
yeah. Who
okay.
makes big trips out, right?
Exactly.
Got
'Cause
it.
they can't take the trip, but all of the parks closed here. So we have Disneyland, Legoland, and my son was supposed to go to Legoland. They closed it.
Mm-hmm.
Turned 6. Legoland's for the little kids.
Yeah.
They closed it. We got Magic Mountain. So they've closed all these parks, and they closed the parks pretty early actually.
Yeah, they did.
And so now with the parks closed and all of the entertainment closed and all of the schools closed and all of the restaurants closed, and this is and all the movie theaters closed. All these things,
Oh my
everybody's sitting at
gosh.
home trying to find something to do, and the streets
Mm.
are in LA, which is unusual. Even though LA it's not like New York where everybody's running the streets together. They do it in cars, and all the
Yeah.
cars, the roads are empty.
Wow.
The roads are empty. Now you can drive. Instead of driving just six. Well, if you're on the slow 05, which is referred to as the 405,
Mm-hmm.
but that road is usually packed, and it's someplace it would take you, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to get to. You can do it in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, what about? I mean, so you're talking about the Angelinos or whatever, but what about the tourists? Because I visited LA or Hollywood several times and everything, and there wasn't a lot of people on the street in general, but there was flooded with cars, like you said. I mean, people would take their car to the store. You know what I mean? When me and my friend would just walk into a movie studio because they give out free tickets every night, people are looking at you as they're going like 5 miles an hour. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Because they don't. Nobody. You heard that song. Nobody walks in L.A. That
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
except in Hollywood. Hollywood Boulevard is empty now.
All right.
All of the people are inside. With the cars, this is the thing about the cars here. LA is cars, and the reason it is, it's not like New York. They built it to have mass transit and people be together and everything. When they
Yeah.
built LA, the oil companies and the car companies saw an opportunity to change the city planning so that
Mm.
it was car friendly, so they could sell
Yeah.
more gas and they could sell more cars. And so that's why LA is so spread out the way it is, which I like. That's one of the reasons I moved here.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Yeah, I do remember there's an occasional bus stop or whatever, or something like that. But yeah,
You
you're
can
right. It is pretty car
catch the
heavy.
bus, but the bus is nothing like catching the bus where you are, or the
Yeah,
transit
of
where you
course.
are. Because the thing that takes you, to get to the airport, I had to catch the bus there one time,
Mm.
and it was an experience. So my kids, we took them on the bus. Oh, let's go on the bus.
Yeah.
It took us 4 hours to take the bus,
Whoa.
which takes you in the car about 45 minutes.
Madness.
Yeah, so because we had to change buses and cross it, it's not designed for that.
Mm.
It's just not.
Now, because this used to be like again the Hollywood, kind of scene is everybody's in these big houses or they're spread out and everything. And, there's a Hollywood bus tour and stuff. Now that you're kind of like forced under house arrest or social distancing,
Yeah. Yeah.
you used to like to do the celebrity sighting, where you would see somebody, and now you don't see anyone. I mean, how Walking Dead is it?
Well, you go see them online because they're all trying to get out.
They're all doing a podcast.
They really are. All the late night show guys. Well, I can't go in, but I'm going to do my own podcast.
Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, I know. I've been watching, and it's kind of strange.
They're all doing it now. Yeah, you do. Like I live in an area where there's a lot of people that do shows and things, and a lot of the old westerns were made out here.
Oh yeah.
House on the Prairie was made around here. And you see these people, but no, you're not gonna see them now because you can hardly get in the store. You really can't go. So it's pretty serious that everything is changing. So like we're doing this remote across the ocean.
Yeah,
it's gonna start to be that way for a lot of people next door. People have not taken this really, really seriously yet. This is it's escalating, and it's escalating faster than it is being reported because here in the States they don't have test kits. So you go in coughing and a fever, and they go, you got a cough and a fever, but we can't test you. That's it.
Yeah. Well, we have a line of people who have coughs and fevers, really. Yeah, and everything.
And that's it. There's a whole line. So we don't have enough test kits to get accurate data. So when we tell you it's 100 people, it very well may be 1,000 or 10,000.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that we're running into. So as this gets more serious, those numbers are going to rise, and they're going to get more kits, and they're going to have more and more numbers. And when those numbers rise, people will be more serious about staying home.
Hell, I mean, you're a business coach, and you're involved in, successfully helping people do their businesses. So let's talk a little bit on the numbers side of things.
Okay.
Because when we were talking around, like, say, for example, the stock market, right? I just thought it might be an interesting avenue to go down. We haven't gone down this road yet and everything, but you were telling me how the market is way down, but Netflix is up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so this is the thing. Most people here, at least, what they do is they put their money into like a 401k or something like that. Something that's branched off. It's a generalized thing. And I guess if you're not going to pay attention, that's a great thing. But if you're going to obviously go down with the market, hopefully they can always talk diversification. And in this case, the whole market's going down, so everybody's losing on the way down. But if you pay attention, if you're a focused investor, and look, so the way I invest, I'm not giving investment advice, but this is just what I do. I just tell my story. I look at companies that I like, and that's what I invest in. So I'm just like a sports team. I like the Rams, so I know who the coach is, I know who the players are, I know who the quarterback is. So in companies, it'll be the same thing. I know who the management team is. I know what they do, what their service is, and how good they are. And the reason I'm going to look at that company is because I like it. And I'm also going to learn the rhythm of it. So I'll use another company, which is Tesla. I look at Tesla all the time, pay attention to it. I know Apple as well. I know these companies. I know the management team. If things change in those companies, I'm aware of it. Now, Netflix, I knew Netflix would do good in this scenario because everybody's sequestered to be home. Netflix is producing. This is what I noticed in the streaming wars. So we'll talk about this. In the streaming, here's what I noticed. Netflix is. I'm always looking for the guy that's going to step out and be different. The number of productions that Netflix brings to the forefront weekly is far outpacing every other streaming service. There's nobody even close. Yeah. And because of that, they stay on the cutting edge, and they are the go-to company, even though the other companies, say Disney, just started their own streaming, right? What did they do? They took all the rights for all the Disney stuff, and nobody has it. Netflix certainly doesn't, but it's not really missed. And you look at what is it, AT&T, which owns a lot of content, and they've snatched their content. And it doesn't matter because Netflix is constantly putting things out. They just came out this last weekend with Self-Made, which is a story about Madam C.J.
Walker
was the first black female self-made millionaire in America, and she not just black but female self-made millionaire in America in the early 1900s. At the turn of the century. So doing black hair care products. That's a great story. And they brought that out, and it's in 4 parts, and it actually is a good story, good actors. It's a good movie, and as long as they bring content like that to the forefront, they're going to stay on the cutting edge. So this is a company I'm going to pay attention to during this downturn. And in fact, as the market has gone down, and it did take a hit, but it's starting to rise at this point, where everyone else is still getting hit and dropping lower.
Yeah. Well, you would know about this then. Like, what about Disney made a major power move by buying up Marvel, right?
Right.
And Pixar and all of that. But it took them about a year to get through the whole, standards and practices and stuff like that. But because everybody was afraid of the monopoly. But now AT&T is rising up to say, hey, look, we're looking to buy Disney, right? And everything else like that.
Apple, they're hoping that Apple will buy them as well.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm just trying to say. It's just like, first we were afraid of the monopoly, and now it's like, you got these telephone companies, because I always wondered how a telephone company makes money now that, I got Facebook. I don't need to call anybody. Right.
Well, they morph, they evolve. And that what you're seeing right now with this pandemic is worldwide pandemic. So now, all of a sudden, all these movie theaters, all of the entertainment places, everything, how do we do that? So what you're going to see from this is everybody starting to evolve and morph and find ways that they never thought of would work, working to make money, because you got to change how you do things. The ones that are most creative and the ones that see the because this seems like, oh my God, everybody's out of work, they're sitting at home, the kids not at school, it's terrible, it's going to be, But within that, the question really is, where's the opportunity there? Where's the huge, huge opportunity that doesn't exist right now?
That's what I was going to ask you next, because you gave my favorite Batman detective question. Who benefits? Yeah? So I thought that was going to be interesting. It's like, out of all of this, you asked the question, and I said, well, hold it. Save it for the show. So who's going to benefit here?
Well, the people that can be creative enough to know that. So I'll give you, for instance, my son takes piano lessons, right? Mm-hmm. And we go there a couple of times a week, and he sits down at the piano with his teacher and all that. But last week, we had to do, they quickly shifted, like a lot of schools didn't. They quickly shifted and said, we're still doing the piano lesson. We're going to do it over Zoom. And so Zoom allows multiple people to be on at once. So you have the whole class, and you can conduct it, and you can go to each individual and talk to them. And that's exactly what happened. Companies that move like that and think like that will continue to have those clients, whereas others will lose them because we're closed right now because of the pandemic. We're not still teaching. And they will be, and then once they learn how to talk to people in the local area, there's apps like Neighbor and things like that. Where
Neighbor?
Yes, that's what it's called. It's an app that's here in the States. So things like that, where you can talk to people locally in their area, you can start that whole advertising thing again. The world doesn't really change. It stays the same in a different way.
I like that.
That's what you're seeing now. It will force the issue. And when we come out of this, a lot of those things will come back with an added piece to it or a shift. And some may not come back because they found something better.
Well, I mean, this is very interesting, but there's another thing that you brought up around all of this. Like we were talking about the media landscape. We were talking about top of boxes, Branson owning TiVo, and all of this other kind of
Right.
stuff, Apple TV.
Right.
Now, then you brought up something that hit me like a lightning bolt, and I said, okay, let's discuss. You brought up Napster,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Now, for those out there who remember, right, we were trying to speculate, right? It was like around 94, 2003, whatever it was. 2003, I think you said, around that time.
So for
Go
people that's
ahead.
not familiar with Napster, let's just give them a little background on that.
Yeah, please
If
do.
you're not familiar with Napster, Napster was the renegade uh, guy in his dorm room that started a server and had everybody give free music, all the music they owned. They would put it on
Mm-hmm.
that server, and anybody in the world could go to it and take the music off and just play it
Yeah.
and have it for free. And the record companies lost their mind. Okay, we're
Yeah.
losing money,
We're
and
gonna lose all our money. Yeah.
exactly. So with that, what really happened was they thought they're stealing all our rent. We're not making money off of it. How can we kill this? That was their question. Not what opportunity does this provide with this new
Yeah.
service, but how can we kill it? And just so you know, that's not the first time they've done it. When Reel to Reel came out, they did the same thing. What? And they can record the music. And then when cassette tapes came out, they did it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, with stream, it's
Kind of
funny.
like VHS, DVD. Do you remember the Blu-ray HDD war? Brown versus blue.
But every time a new technology comes out, as opposed to embracing it and finding the opportunity there, they try to kill it. With Napster, Napster said, okay, they went to court, they were going to shut them down, it was centralized, and Napster said, look, you don't have to do that. We'll start to sell the music. We won't just give it away for free. And it was centralized. Everybody knew Napster. Instead of doing that, it's like when they squash a bug and they put their foot on it and it splintered and went everywhere. Then
Yeah.
you were sharing music everywhere. They couldn't centralize it. It was
Yeah.
a situation. And they ended up losing money left and right, couldn't handle it until they had to go to Steve Jobs from Apple and ask for his help. And then he kind of brought it into a point. There were other companies doing things, but they weren't really successful.
Mm.
That made Apple the number one record company in the world from nothing, because
Mm.
that's the thing that businesses have to recognize, the opportunity. So Apple was a computer company that then became known for their iPhone, that then became known for phones, that then became the number one record company and the number one app company. So as you start to see the opportunity branched off of each one of those things, you can always get something done. But are you looking for opportunity, or do you see gloom and doom? If
Mm-hmm.
you see gloom and doom, that's what you'll find. They crushed them, but it killed them.
But see, what interested me about the Napster story is the fact that I remember, as everybody else, I had my music in a particular way. I either bought my vinyl in the shops, got my cassettes, got my CDs, or whatever, right? I went to concerts, went to shows, and all of that other kind of stuff. So then it was like, oh, this is going to be bad. If people can stream this music for free, how do we make money, right? But now here we are with the movie theaters and movie chains closing down. Here we are with some of the chains already saying that they're not going to be able to reopen,
Yeah.
right? And there's also the speculation, because I'm a Marvel DC fan, about what's happening to the timeline of our movies that were already set to come out in the
Right.
spring, right? Will they even come out in Christmas time or the summer and everything? Or will they just go video on demand? Will they just go straight to streaming? So it was that point that I thought, whoa, boggle mind, right? Because is this going to be the new thing? Is streaming, even though they want to make the $1 billion that these movies have made, these superhero movies have made, with each release. How are they going to make money this time? But is that going to be the new normal that we're just going to make movie and stream it?
So this goes back to the same thing. Is this an opportunity to find out what works, or is this gloom and doom because we're shut down? So I would say that movie theaters have been fighting this for a long time. This is a battle that's been going. How do we keep people coming to this theater? So my local theater that I went to for years and years, still down the street, had these chairs that you sat up in and they gave you popcorn. And then another theater opened up.
Come around, give you drinks now.
A mile away that served a full meal.
Yeah,
like
I heard about it.
A restaurant, and you could recline in your chair. So then they had to change, and they changed their chairs to recline and make you, it's a battle that's going on, but they're doing all that so that you can go to the theater. Because
and have a comfortable experience.
Because I got a big screen TV and surround sound at home. Why do I need to go to the theater? And they have to
be jealous.
Do that. So I'm just saying this is the battle that they have.
Yeah.
And so they've been fighting it. So now this gives them an opportunity to see. So think about this. Marvel Comics, right? So now Marvel Comics can have a big release because the real people that love that, if you release it, even online, now you might centralize it to one service and have that release date and have a big gala and have some extra things and even sell some paraphernalia that would be for that launch and encourage launch parties. And you might even have a bigger release than if you did it in theaters.
How did they make money off of my launch party, though?
The way you make money, you register. You have them.
How do the company, make money off of my launch party?
That's what I'm telling you. You have them register to be announced at the launch party, for them to get special things for the launch crew, pre-launch for the movie, all kinds of things. And you have all this stuff that's going to be only on the date of this launch at the particular time, and only your ones registered for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you sell merchandise before the movie comes out to be ready for the launch party.
Merchandise itself does make money, and stuff. But
then, of course, you're selling the movie too.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I mean, because Black Widow, like when you just said Marvel movies, that was the big one that we were waiting for that was coming out next month. And it was just kind of like, should it go to streaming? Wonder Woman 84 is coming out. Should that go to streaming? And, this is the big debate right now, this very moment, is should these big female-led superhero films that are known to be the possibility of making billions of dollars,
right?
They can't capture nowhere near that with all these ideas that you were just saying. You know what I mean? So,
well, here's the thing. Think about this. So, how do you get this? If you have a launch party, and this is off the top of my head, but if you had a launch party, how many people are going to be at your party? Have something special for each one of those things. This is going to take more work. But now you say all these people, instead of going to the movies and paying $13, you can do this for $6.50 because that's all of the studios are going to make anyway at best. Okay, so you're cutting out this middleman, and you're not trying to cut it. It's just they're closed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And no movie theater to go to, bro.
Pass that on to the consumer.
Let's go to Alan Horn's house.
And if you pass that on to the consumer, or if you tie it for $13 to them getting the merchandise or whatever you're going to do, and you have to do this a period in advance, but if you're doing launch parties, you can ship everything there. It just needs to be thought out. How can I make this a great opportunity to change the way things have always been done? The way they did it in the 1900s, people went out to movie theaters.
Yeah, the cinematographic and stuff.
Now we're at 2020. How do we do it 2020 style?
Wow. I just think this has been a really interesting conversation in this way here, Dwight, because of the fact that like it's in my wheelhouse, this whole media landscape scenario. But it's all speculative. We don't know what's going to happen. But I just thought it was a light bulb moment for me when you brought up Napster, because I remember the outrage around the whole streaming scenario, and
Yes.
we're right now in the middle of media streaming wars.
Well, they
And
started suing their client, the customers.
yeah,
People would download this stuff and they started suing. It's the wrong approach. But here's one consistent thing we do know, 100%. We don't know how this is all going to turn out, but we do absolutely know there's opportunity here. Question is, can you find it?
well, see, you're the man. You're the man. I mean, let me just say, how can people find you there? I mean, I know you like a little recluse, but this is the man who knows what he's talking about. So it's like,
so
whoever needed any advice there, bro.
It's successwithhelp.com. It's kind of long. Or you can go to dwightjames.com. They'll take you to the.
And you usually help people with what, like businesses or the self-management?
Exactly. The small business. And so what I help them do is make more sales, and increase the size of their business with doing less work. We
all like that word.
Less
work, more money. Or more business.
Usually that's what happens, because if you're doing all the work, you're probably not making that much money.
Damn it. you just exposed me.
You might be, but if you build it out, because that's the thing, most of the time people don't have a process. So they go in and they try to do everything. But if they put a process in place for what they're doing, even when you work a job, there's ways to do the same thing. When I was in sales, I remember I used to sell gold and silver, and I would be on the job, just a regular W-2 job, but we could split the sale. Like I could give it to a guy and he'd close it and I would make some money. I would be 50-50. For me, the smarter thing to do was to find good leads. The ones that were relatively easy to close, weren't going to take a lot of time, I would close them. Yeah. But the ones that were going to take a bit of time and could be closed, I'd give it to other people. So I would leave early and be home. I many times I get calls and they go, man, I just made you $6,000. I just made, and I love those calls. It was better than what I made because it just came out of the blue.
Better than mine, and when you said 1,000 at the end of that number. But I'm gonna have you on again with our crypto guy, because when you just said about selling gold and silver and everything, who knows what kind of money we're gonna be dealing with when all this is said and done. Are we gonna be dealing with cash, or are we gonna be dealing with gold and silver, or just chips and electronic points?
Right. Well, that's the goal right now is moving away from
cash,
from some currency of some sort to digital money. So so now it's just going to be zeros and ones,
like the binary system and stuff like that. But,
it is changed, but that's something that's also evolving. Anytime you get on the cutting edge of this stuff, it always makes a big difference. I'll tell you, one of the things that has me concerned about being in this pandemic mode is right now it's great because we have electricity and gas and everything's still working. If those people were to get sick and we didn't have electricity, and that'd be a challenge. I have solar panels on my house, and so embracing that technology makes me independent of the company. If they can't produce electricity, that doesn't mean I don't have it. I still. If you drive an electric car and you have solar panels, even if the gas stations are closed, you still can get anywhere you need to go. So it doesn't. It affords an opportunity. So there's a lot.
Well, that's kind of like be safe and be echo safe, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, the only thing is I do have to kind of finish up by saying be safe, because we moved away from the pandemic thing, but just bringing it back, you said something about the National Guard has been called out today in the state, or is that in LA?
Now, Donald Trump, our president, said that he has.
Derek, you got off. I think you got it.
Has said, and I have to preference with that because this is what he said. doesn't mean it's the truth necessarily. That the National Guard has been put out to L.A., Washington State, and New York. And they're supposed to be here Monday. Now, that's what was said over the weekend by Donald Trump. A lot of the things he says do not come to fruition only in his mind immediately, but sometimes they do. And I think that might be one that they actually go out and show up to help.
Well, I mean, hopefully that's true. Hopefully it doesn't turn into another version of the crazies. But yes, you probably had your own timer set. We're at the end of our time window and everything. We have to shut down the portal. But Dwight James, thank you very much for talking to us from LA. Definitely love to talk to you again.
I'm gonna leave. I'll leave you with my website again. Is successwithhelp.com. So SUCCESSWITHHELP.
All right. No.
And DwightJames.com. Taking it to the same place.
All right. So we'll try to have our man put it on the screen and stuff like that.
That's great.
That's how technology works, bro. Okay, well, I'm Chase Johnson Lynch. You've been listening to Dwight James all the way from California and everything like that. And Blake, take us out of here.